Okay, cool.
So, we restart.
Hi.
Hi!
Nice to meet you. So how did the film project came to be?
With my last movie, I was invited to a film festival in Taiwan, and this is actually how I got to that little island. I didn't know the place before. I remember the moment when my producer called me and said, yeah, you're invited to go to a film festival in Taipei, in Taiwan. I was like, what is Taiwan exactly? Is it like, is it a country? Is it an island? Is it... I did not have any clue. So I googled it a bit and thought like, wow, it looks pretty nice as well. Like not only like the big city, as well the countryside. So I stayed also a bit longer than just for the film festival and traveled just a week or something. And yeah, this was the period when I just was really done with my film before. I'd always, or for me at least, it takes some months to like digest that you just finished the film and send it out to the world, and like as a little child, like, or it's grown up now, you can go for himself and you get some headspace to think about new stuff. So I think it was just things came together that I happened to be there and that my head was open again to see and experience things. And so when I went out for dinners in Taipei, I discovered this way of life goes on during the night thing, and there was something that fascinated me, because it didn't feel like this where I know this thing like from what I don't know, New York or whatever, where it's 24/7 thing and it's a really special scenery, and it was more like, okay, it's night, but we don't care. Like, we're peeling our carrots. We just pretend that it's normal. So I was fascinated by the normality of the nightlife, not by the special being awake and letting things run again. So yeah, I decided to get back with my team, and 20 rolls of super 16 millimeters without a plan. I don't work conceptual at all. That means I don't have fixed plans before I shoot.
You don't write a screenplay or something?
Nothing. No. I mean, I had to write down like my thoughts on the topic, and also to get some fundings. And I think that was good to like arrange a bit my thoughts around the questions I have. But that was all. So I didn't even know, do I go to shoot in a night market where many people cook, or do I end up somewhere totally different, which happened. Yeah.
And when was that?
We went for the first shooting in 2015. In autumn. Yeah.
And how long did it last?
We always decided that we wanna go there at least twice, and then we ended to go 3 times for 6 weeks always. So we spent more or less, I did never calculate that, 4 to 5 months in just one street, which is a weird thing to do. Yeah.
And how was the process of getting finance for it? Was it easy?
Well, first, I have to mention that it's my diploma, like my master degree film. Okay. So I had some support from the school, not financial support, but we had all the material.
Really? Like
not
the 16?
No, not but the technical stuff. Okay. Yeah, so the camera and so which is also like it can be a big burden, but this one we didn't have to carry. We had the stuff from the school. And then we got funding in Switzerland from like very different sources. So we didn't like get one big fund. We just like here and there we were able to put some things together. Also, I guess my producer and we made quite a good work in trying to explain the film, but still not overtell the sort of the narration. So what I did is writing a concept more in a way of why is it an important topic? Why is it also important to a Swiss audience? So all those things we were reflecting a bit about, and I think it was quite understandable, although it's quite an exotic and, let's say, experimental / essayistic approach, whatever. Yeah, because it's always difficult. How can you sell your soul if you're not doing like a classical thing? Yeah. So how do you explain to people what is this gonna be? And I do understand that they need some sort of explanation. They cannot give you money just for a blank page. Yeah. I do totally understand that. But how do you like pitch or explain, a film that works more on a emotional level, on a sensitive level, on an experience level, and not on a narration level? We're so used to tell stories in a like person A comes to person B and then they have a trouble and blah. And if you're like, this is more an experience thing, it's always difficult to explain.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
And how many were the team?
The team, it's the filming team. We were only 3. So my cinematographer and my sound recorder, who did also the sound design in the post-production. And it's our 3rd film together. Nice. So we, in the very first year of the school, we got to know each other, and we're just like we clicked somehow. It's we're 3 quite different characters, and but it works quite well. So after throughout the years, I think we developed a sort of how we work. I mean, you have to have a certain, approach when you go filming without a concept. What do you say to your team in the morning? I mean, I'm still the director, or that's what is written, like, in my contract. It means like you're the director, you should know what's gonna happen tonight, and I don't know. And since we have been doing this like for 3, it's the 3rd time now, it's not, it's not that discussion anymore. It's more like, okay, to which spot are we gonna drive? And then none of us will know what's gonna happen. But it took a while to understand our own process of finding the little stories.
I had no idea that you had a team. It's because I feel like it's such a one-on-one observation. Mm-hmm. It feels like it's only you, like it's your eyes, actually. Like not even, I can't even imagine the presence of the camera there.
Yeah.
And that's really nice, I think. But how did you manage to occupy this very small space? Because it's a very small space.
Yeah, it is. It's like the size of that room, or a bit more. But well, I think there are different factors in it. But first is that it was really comfortable for us to shoot there. They were open. I mean, they allowed us to come. So they were in a sort open, but not obsessively in. They didn't know what the film is for and what we're gonna do with it. And so they were like, come in, but then not like, I know the way I know it from other cultures, like then also standing all the time near the camera and like this. They were just like, and this is something, I think also that's a point why I fell in love with Taiwan when I was there the first time, was like, they have really this interesting mixture of interest and openness, but not, taking you too much of like this. Yeah. So you can always, in the street, a random person asks something, they will always help you, but then they don't want to take you to see the whole family, and it's like, so there is something in between, and I think that made it really easy. That was one point, and then the other point was we stayed there for a very long time, and I think after a while they realized something like, oh, they really mean it. They, they come back every fucking night, and they come at 10 in the evening, and they stay with us till we close at 7. They are, I mean, they just thought we are just insane, like crazy people. So after a while, also for those people who were maybe in the beginning a bit like, we became so boring. We were just random 3 German people standing in the way. And after a while, they started ignoring us. So I think we became, somehow after a while I felt like becoming part of the furniture. Okay. I was like, we were just like another chair or something. And then also another thing was, I don't speak Chinese or Taiwanese, and I never took a translator with me. I just took a translator with me on the very first day when we found the place, to introduce us, to explain also that they can ask questions they have concerning the filming. But then when all of the circumstances were clear and set, we didn't take... No, just, by eyes and hands, and the cook is like, he can speak some lines of English, so he can say, are you hungry? And you say yes or no, and he understands it. But that helped a lot, that people didn't approach us because they weren't able to talk to us, because they don't speak English, and none of us was speaking one word of Chinese. And so I think this really is part of that observational style as well, because since we also didn't understand what they are talking, you start to watch. And you start to see the energies between the people, because you're not abstracted by what words they use. So I think somehow you really start to see the person as a human being and not, filled with context. So I think it's a mixture of all these things, yeah.
Yeah, it's like their voice become texture instead of meaning.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
So why Super 16?
We always shoot on Super 16, but it's not an explanation. I can give you a better explanation that this is just how we do it. No, it's a beautiful thing in our film school that we still learn it. So I really have to point out this, it's a rare thing that you still learn it. So for the first film in the film school, we had to shoot on Super 16. And that's also how we met, as a team. And we just loved it. And then we were shooting the next one, where it was more something like, let's do it again on Super 16 because we just like it. And there we started to become more non-narrative and not story-driven. And we sort of developed a special technique of not having a concept, going into the great wide openness, but not being able to film all the time. So that creates for us a crazy energy that we don't know what's going to happen. We also don't know what our film is about, but tonight we can only shoot 10 minutes. So, wow. So this is really, there is a weird thing starting to grow then between these two, let's say, powers that are teasing in one direction, like the openness and the not existing possibility of film everything, and then in the middle there is some flower coming up or something like that. So I think that's the main. I mean, we love it from the texture. We also, my cinematographer Stefan loves a lot the work with it. It's somehow so easy to handle. You just put in the film roll, you set some, numbers, and then you're fixed, right? It's none of this. You're not so abstracted by technical stuff, I think. I mean, sure, when the film is done, you need to change it. This takes you 20 minutes, but that's sometimes also good to take this break. But you're not, you don't have these screens and this stuff around. It's just like, and I think that's what he likes a lot. And for me, it's more the not knowing what it's about, but not being able to shoot everything.
Why the sea? In the beginning and in the end?
Somehow this island feeling was something important to me, because maybe it's also sort of a metaphor for always, as a human being, you're also somehow an island. I think I really liked the idea to start with the sea, to always have it in mind when you then dive into that city life. For me, it's more a sensitive thing, so I cannot like really talk it down. But I think it's more something that you have the nature in the back, because for me the film is a lot about the question, what did we become as human beings, and why do we work the way we work, and why do we live the way we live, and what does, maybe in a big way, what does like mother or God nature say to all of this, if she or he could speak. So for me there's always a bit under a subline there is also always the questions, when will nature fight back?
For me it was almost as if it was a dreamlike feeling, you know, and getting to the rhythm of the waves, which is also a very observational thing for me, and it makes me feel very relaxed, and the whole film made me feel very relaxed. So it was like you're entering this experience. It was and then you're getting out of it now. It's like preparing you in. And was that actually chronological? Was it one of the last things that you filmed?
When he drives off, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. The whole shooting process, it was one of the last things we did, because first we had to get to know each other, and then we were shooting in the restaurant, and after a while this idea started to grow in our heads. To go to the sea with him. So it was one of the last things we were shooting, but it took us some days to do all the things. Also the shooting itself, like drive there and
You didn't mic them, right? It was just like...
No, we mic'd him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And he was okay?
He was really like a lucky punch. She didn't want to get mic'd, but he was totally fine with it. So what we did is he was wearing sort of a fabric belt where you can put in the small microphone, and then we glued it somewhere here. So when we arrived, he was always already in the kitchen, like cooking, 7 in the evening or something. And then when we entered after a while, he was like cooking and just taking off his shirt and, proceeding his stuff. It was like, he was so not impressed by they liked us a lot, and that's also we liked each other a lot, so they liked us a lot to be there, but they weren't nervous or impressed or whatever. He was just and Jonathan was fixing the belt and he was cooking. And what we also did is miking all the tables. So we had a lot of, the places where they have the sticks inside and the paper towels, there in each of them was a little microphone, so we could like grab a bit of the talks on the tables.
And was the food good?
Yes.
You ate there every night, right? Probably.
Yeah, often 2 times because we were there for 10 hours. So sometimes we even ate 2 times.
And did they watch the movie yet?
No.
Oh.
I asked them in summer when we knew that we're gonna have the premiere in Locarno. I called them. They have FaceTime, so we can talk. So my translator went there, and we were able to speak. And then I asked them if I should send them a DVD or what they like. And that's exactly how they are. It was just like, no, we wait till you come and then we watch it together. And I was really trying to explain them that it's a big thing. I mean, it's Locarno, and it's also afterwards I sent them picture of the full cinema and of the awards we received, and they were like, yeah, cool. But no, we wait till you come.
Do you have a next project already?
No, not yet. It's a bit the same with this one. Yeah, I need to. This is the last festival of the year, and it's really good. I knew like Porto, and then I'm done for the moment, and let the film like sail out. Yeah.
I was wondering, what is the kind of life that this film can have outside festivals?
It's difficult. Yeah, it's definitely difficult. We were able to sell it to TV channel in Taiwan. And there is definitely, I think, more and more growing the sort of video on demand platforms that are focused, because I think people are looking for the next to their Netflix consumption. People are really, there is a certain
like movie, for example.
Yeah, movie, or in Taiwan there was some platform that already bought the film. And then, we're going to cinemas in Switzerland and maybe in France, but there we're talking about 2 weeks of three cinemas, and definitely not about making money. So that's why festivals are here for, I guess. Or then you should, I don't know, I always think about, like, should I change my way of filmmaking to reach a bigger audience? But I'm not interested in reaching a bigger audience. We discussed it just yesterday with my producer, like, we had some drinks and we were like discussing what sort of films do we want to do? Why do we do film? I'm really struggling with that question, not in a very depressive way, but there is this big question in the room that I ask myself, and I think many filmmakers do the same, is like, for whom, I mean, it's just me expressing my feelings about the world. I mean, who the fuck cares? I mean, yeah, for sure, you have some 100 people who really, as you maybe say, feel touched and, have another 2 hours of another experiences, thoughts about life. But I mean, come on, it's like, there are so many films out there, and I don't know. It's really. Yesterday I talked to a filmmaker friend, and he was really clear about it. I want to leave footprints on this earth. I mean, I'm gonna die, but my films, they remain. And I was like, this is really an egoistic. I mean, it's cool that he can think that way, but it's a really egocentric way. Why does the earth need my fucking footprints? I mean, like, come on. Yeah. So, but I came to one good point. I think like one of my qualities is sort of that I'm quite a sensitive person. So this is really something that makes sense for me to think of, like, sharing my sensitivity in a term of other people maybe perceive the world in another way, and sharing sort of how to feel the world is something that makes sense to me in a bigger range. But do they really need it? I don't know. I will try to think about that the next half year, because it really.
But I think from the point of view of someone who has been touched by your movie, I think you should continue doing it. And, even if it's like from 5 to 100 to 500, these people are gonna be happy about it. So okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.